The French Revolution. Talking about, did women have a revolution? Did women have a revolution? The active participation of women in the events brought about so many important changes in French society. They hoped that their involvement would pressurize the revolutionary government to introduce measures to improve their lives. Most women of the Third Estate had to work for a living. They worked as seamstresses or laundresses, sold flowers, fruits, and vegetables at the market, or were employed as domestic servants in their houses of prosperous people. Most women did not have access to education or job training. Only daughters of nobles or wealthier members of the Third Estate could study at a convent, after which their families arranged a marriage for them. Working women had also to care for their families, that is, cook, fetch water, queue up for bread, and look after the children. Their wages were lower than those of men. In order to discuss and voice their interests, women started their own political clubs and newspapers. About 60 women's clubs came up in different French cities. The Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women was the most famous of them. One of their main demands was that women enjoy the same political rights as men. Women were disappointed that the Constitution of 1791 reduced them to passive citizens. They demanded the right to vote, to be elected to the assembly, and to hold political office. Only then, they felt, would their interest to be represented in the new government. The revolutionary government introduced laws that helped improve the lives of women. Creation of state schools, schooling was made compulsory for all girls. Girls' father could no longer force them into marriage against their will. Marriage was made into a contract entered into freely and registered under civil law. Divorce was made legal and could be applied for by both women and men. Women could now train for jobs, could become artists or run small businesses. Women's struggle for equal political rights, however, continued. During the Reign of Terror, the new government issued laws ordering closures of women's clubs and banning their political activities. Many prominent women were arrested and a number of them executed. Women's movement for voting rights and equal wages continued through the next 200 years in many countries of the world. The fight for the vote was carried out through an international suffrage movement during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It was finally in 1946 that women in France won the right to vote. Information. The life of a revolutionary woman, Olympe de Gouges. Olympe de Gouges was one of the most important of the politically active women in revolutionary France. In 1791, she wrote a Declaration of the Rights of Women and Citizen. In 1793, Olympe de Gouges criticized the Jacobin government for forcibly closing down women's club. She was tried by the National Convention, which charged her with treason. Soon after this, she was executed. Summary: some of the basic rights sets forth in Olympe de Gouges Declaration. Woman is born free and remains equal to men in rights. The goal of all political associations is the preservation of the natural rights of woman and man. These rights are liberty, property, security, and above all resistance to oppression. The source of all sovereignty resides in the nation, which is nothing but the union of man and woman. The law should be the expression of the general will. All female and male citizens should have a say either personally or by their representatives in its formulation. It should be the same for all. All female and male citizens are equally entitled to all honors and public employment according to their abilities and without any other distinctions than that of their talents. No woman is an exception. She is accused, arrested, and detained in cases determined by law. Women, like men, obey this rigorous law. That is all in this topic. Let us learn about the abolition of slavery and the revolution and everyday life in our last topic. Good going!